Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today, and happy June to you as we begin the 6th month of the calendar year. A beautiful time to check in on the energies of right now in your life. What is unfolding for you here in 2026? What is satisfying, healthy, and rewarding? And where you can make new choices or direct your energy in a new way to bring about more of what you want and desire. We are in Gemini season. It is a big Gemini season right now. And even in today's show, we're going to be discussing Gemini energies and themes. So this can be a beautiful time to look at what you're ready to change up and do differently, where you want to course correct, and to work with this cerebral energy of Gemini that is flexible, curious, and adaptable. And you may start to see something in a new light or see something that you previously overlooked. Now, on that note, in today's show, we're going to focus on one of the main energies here of this month, which is Uranus in Gemini and Sedna in Gemini and the Pleiadean star cluster in Gemini, all squaring the nodes of fate. Yes, we now have the North Node in Pisces moving through the final degrees of the sign, starting the month at 4 degrees of Pisces and continuing to move backwards until the North Node reaches 0 degrees of Pisces on July 27th. So over the next 2 months, we are in the final phases of that North Node in Pisces, as well as the final 2 months of the South Node in Virgo. As these nodes of fate close out their journey, their 18-month journey through this nodal axis, they're going to have electrifying shifts, developments, downloads, and activations from these planets in Gemini. Now, the Pleiadian star cluster is at 0 degrees of Gemini. Sedna is now at 1 degree of Gemini, and Uranus begins the month at 2 degrees of Gemini and reaching 3 degrees of Gemini by the end of June. And this energy is going to be quite intense this month because there's already been a buildup here that's been pulsing through us. We've been feeling it in the collective frequencies. We can feel and sense that big changes are afoot, that significant things are happening beyond what we're able to actually see, but we feel it, we sense it, we're intuitively picking up on it. And this is going to be a month when that Uranus energy squaring the nodes of fate, along with Sedna and the Pleiadian star clusters, send a jolt of intelligence, cosmic intelligence, and higher awareness into the quiet, dreamy energy of the North Node in Pisces and the analytical, focused energy of Virgo. So when we're talking about this energy, you want to look in your chart at where you have mutable signs between 0 to 4 degrees. So 0 to 4 degrees of Gemini, 0 to 4 degrees of Virgo, 0 to 4 degrees of Sagittarius, and 0 to 4 degrees of Pisces. These are going to be areas of your life that are going to be jolted in some manner. There's going to be bursts of insight, impactful understandings, important downloads, and expansion in your everyday conscious mental body, meaning we are being invited to think of ourselves and think of the world in a whole new way. This is energy that takes us off planet, that opens us up to new understandings of ourselves in the solar system and in the galaxy. This also is going to be expanding the stories, which is a Gemini word, the stories and narratives that we have previously learned that have been taught and told in schools for decades and decades. There's going to be new information coming up. There's going to be things that challenge what we thought that story was. There's going to be new understandings of humanity's history and even the forgotten stories the lost stories are going to be coming forward. Now, this isn't only happening this month, but it is unfolding over the next few years. But there's something pivotal about this month when you have all of these energies in Gemini squaring the nodes of fate. So the Gemini energies are strongly emphasized here. And ever since Gemini season began on May 20th, there has been an increase in our verbal activity, mental processes, communications, ideas, potentials, fast-moving thoughts, as Gemini is the sprinter, Gemini is the messenger. And so Gemini desires to get information to us quickly so that we can think it through, process it, and understand it. Now, when we have all of these influential outer planets heavily emphasized, it's working with our higher consciousness, and we're being asked to receive more than we're comfortable with. So safe to say, this could bring about discomfort as new information, details, stories, and particulars are revealed. Uranus is shocking. Uranus is disruptive. It can also be quite liberating, especially as it activates the truth teller energy. What needs to be said, what needs to be stated. And the discomfort creates a tension that needs release. And that is part of this T square of these energies in Gemini squaring the North Node and the South Node, is that you could be feeling like at a personal level, there's something you need to say, write, teach, or express. You need to move the energy through you. It's feeling too trapped or contained, with which Uranus doesn't want, doesn't like. Uranus wants to bust free. And so this could be something that is coming through your throat chakra. This could be something that has been rising. And here we have an increasing tension point that requires movement. Now, just to paint a bigger picture here, we're discussing the mutable signs, and the mutable signs are about changes, choices, and options, being open to what transpires, being flexible, staying aware that everything changes. So let's just go with it. Let's make a new choice. And that's how the mutable signs allow the energy to keep moving forward. The mutable signs are about movement, and this can be, of course, an asset and a strength. It can also be a liability and a weakness, where there is a restlessness, where everything is started or nothing gets completed. There isn't anything that is fully committed to because you're on to the next thing, leaving things unfinished over here as another project or endeavor calls to your attention. Mutable signs can also be chameleons, and they can be so adaptable that they blend in and they'll be whatever somebody needs them to be, or they will be readily available for whatever you may need. This can be such a giving, caring, compassionate energy, but it also can disconnect you from what you need, from what is essential to your energy and your own self-care. And so with strong mutable energies, things can feel inconsistent, unreliable, uncertain. And so we need to be adaptable and flexible to the changes that are unfolding over the next few months, knowing that there will be less certainty. There will be less things that you can rely on as you used to. And that's part of the change here, is that you might find that there's things you've always done or places you always went, and now they're different. Now you're different. The process has shifted, or the experience has greatly changed. Of course, it could be many things, but in broad terms, this is understanding that when we have a focus on mutable signs, there is meant to be more lightness in our expectations and in our approach. We're meant to be more willing to work with the changes as they unfold and to stay open to whatever is presenting itself at the present moment, knowing that it's going to change and look different very soon. In your own astrology chart, if you have planets or points with mutable signs, then you're aware of this in yourself, most likely. You're already naturally inclined to move with changes, to make a new choice, to be open to a new potential, and to not be stuck or stagnant in only one option. But if you do not have many mutable planets or points in your chart, this could bring up more of your own fears and uncertainties around what's to come, what's developing, what's happening, and you might be seeking that out in some way. But June is not going to bring about any stability in the ways that you may need or expect, simply because this energy is saying there's a lot shifting here. There's a lot that's evolving and moving us forward. And this is an opportunity to work with those changes more proactively and work with them instead of resist them or push them away or stay stuck, because I feel that this energy is going to be paradigm shifting, and it's part of what is moving us forward, jolting us forward into new experiences, new endeavors, and new dreams. But it isn't going to happen at a predictable pace or an expected manner. Now, this can bring about some wonderful synchronicities, coincidences, and unexpected breakthroughs. There can be some very positive developments that happen as the planets in Gemini square the North Node and the South Node, but we have to stay aware that it's probably going to be very sudden and immediate because of how fast moving Uranus operates, as well as simply remaining open to the surprises and breakthroughs that Uranus in Gemini loves to deliver. So let's break this down a little bit more specifically. So the North Node is in Pisces, where it has been since January 2025. That means that the opposite sign and point, Virgo, has been in the South Node for the same amount of time since they traveled together. They started at 29 degrees of Pisces, 29 degrees of Virgo. This is a journey that unfolds over 18 months through the full sign of Pisces and the full sign of Virgo, moving from 29 degrees to 0 degrees, and essentially sweeping out and clearing out the unconscious expressions of both signs. Now, the North Node is what we are here to develop, welcome, and grow into. At a collective level, we have all been moving through that North Node in Pisces that has wanted us to continue to trust our intuition, our spiritual guidance, our artistic expression and creativity. The North Node in Pisces is opening us up to the unseen, inviting us to go higher and essentially partner with your soul's guidance even more. North Node in Pisces is where we release the need to know, where we don't have details, we don't have particulars, and we're meant to trust that the energy itself is going to show up and come through. The North Node in Pisces can welcome in more compassion, forgiveness, love, and acceptance. It's also where we detach from the physical world and we see the bigger picture of what's been unfolding. North Node in Pisces is also about endings, what you are clearing out and closing out at an important level in your soul. And this was heavily emphasized because, if you recall, we had both Saturn and Neptune dancing in Pisces with the North Node back in 2025, bringing up important karmic lessons, healing themes, spiritual growth, and soul lesson closures. And so, especially in 2025, we had some significant indicators here of what that North Node in Pisces was moving us through in order to release it so that we don't repeat it in another lifetime or we don't carry it forward. There's a cleansing that happens with Pisces energy. There can be a beautiful release and purging as well as an unraveling. So what has that North Node in Pisces been unraveling for you so that you can essentially be more effervescent, more alive in your light body, more deeply connected to the vastness of your energy, and more in tune with your intuition on a regular basis? So this is certainly an energy that requires us to dissolve the ego, remove our self-identity, step away from what we think we want in the immediate gratification of our lives, and understand the bigger picture of what the soul is learning and what we are journeying through this physical world of energy. On the opposite side of this axis is the South Node in Virgo, and this is where we're clearing out any of those older and unsatisfying Virgo qualities that are being refined. You could be assessing more of what you need and what's essential to you. The South Node in Virgo is an earth sign that's very aware of your physical reality, of what you need to do every day, where you have responsibilities and commitments. This can reveal what you need to take care of in terms of obligations and what you have relied upon on a regular daily basis that keeps you grounded in the physical world, but it also connects the physicality of your experience, your body, to the mind. And that is one of the strengths of Virgo energy, is the mind-body connection. And so there is an energy here where you might feel that you are fine-tuning and improving your mind-body connection by understanding what is not bringing about results, what is not healthy, what is not satisfying, and what no longer serves you. Now, the Virgo energy can be very humble and very aware of how your gifts and abilities are able to support other people, how you're here to serve or contribute to something bigger than yourself. And this can also keep that Virgo energy small, meaning you can stay stuck in something past its due date, past the fact that it's ran its course, simply because you're operating from a place of, well, they need me to do this. They expect me to do this. I don't want to let people down or disappoint them. And so there can be an unconscious pattern here that perhaps the South Node in Virgo is revealing around what you're seeing as an energy leak, or it's no longer fulfilling. It isn't in alignment with who you are and the next chapter you're moving into. And so we're all being asked to assess the Virgo areas of our lives, the Virgo houses in our charts, to determine what needs to be swept away and cleaned out, what needs to be removed, because that South Node is meant to be a place of karmic clearing and release, where you set yourself free from something. And in Virgo, it's understanding, am I being too much of a perfectionist? Am I overanalyzing this and over-processing this? Am I staying in a pattern or a loop that is actually not good for me, for my nervous system, for my mind or my body, because I'm not sure of the next solution. I'm not sure of the next path or the new process. And so perhaps what you're realizing too is that this is also a time to open up to new solutions, new options, and new directions that are designed to move you forward, but you also have to be willing to release anything that's been holding you back or keeping you stuck. And the Virgo energy can be mentally stuck as well as physically. But the Virgo energy is very smart, very intellectual. And so that's where the overthinking can show up, because you're searching for a new direction, a new solution. You want something to be exactly perfect in order to then make the change or do something different. And so this is saying, actually, you can just step away and trust with that North Node in Pisces that something new is presenting and is going to show up through the uncertainty of this change. It's also interesting to note a few more things about the Pisces Virgo axis, is that these are both energies that want to give, that are very aware of other people. And so there can be a desire to be of service, to be supportive. There can be a desire to show up and do whatever needs to get done. But the other part of that is that you can become detached from what is essential for your own well-being and lose connection to your core. And so there could be some shifts happening here that are actually strengthening that core and solidifying it in a way that brings in more self-compassion, self-love, self-acceptance. There's like this ability to see your own goodness and see your own strengths in a new light and in a new way. There could also be mental shifts here that removes any overactive messages around perfectionism or being good enough. That's part of what the South Node is clearing out. And keep in mind that could be related to an 19-year cycle, because the last time the South Node was in Virgo was 19 years ago. So that means the last time the North Node was in Pisces is the same. And so this could be significant, especially when we go into what Virgo does well. And maybe you're finding that your skill set or your strengths or how you've always done something is no longer matching or fitting in your life or at work. Maybe there's some things that you're realizing, I don't feel valued, I don't feel seen, I don't feel appreciated here. And I feel like that South Node in Virgo is actually reminding you to not internalize those messages, but to actually look at what is being cleared out within you, maybe even at a cellular level, that is actually going to be rebooted and upgraded as you release and clear out any of those old tendencies or imprints that are actually not part of your future or your next chapter. Wherever the South Node is traveling is the energies we need to release, but it could also feel like something is being left behind. Like, do you feel like your skills are being left behind, or that something that you've always loved and enjoyed is no longer relevant or no longer important? That's actually part of this cycle. And so I feel that as we move through the month of June and into July, these are the energies that are going to receive some startling jolts of understanding that is going to rewrite a story. That is going to be the square here from Uranus-Sedna and the Pleiadean energies in Gemini, is that new information comes through like a very powerful download, something that's literally out of this world. And it asks you to rewrite those narratives, especially any narrative that is not empowering, that is disempowering, any narrative that is limiting you and your capacity to love yourself, accept yourself, to see yourself in the highest possible light. This is a time when we are being guided to stay open to what we don't know. You don't know what you don't know, right? And then here comes these Gemini influences bringing something alive first in the mind. So the mind is then going to be seeking understanding and have questions. Where did this come from? What's this about? Is this accurate? Is this true? And then it starts the whole processing of the mind, where we go into various mental habits or loops around understanding something. But this energy is very influential, and it could take time for the human mind to fully digest it and understand it. But I think the more impactful energy is going to awaken a deep knowingness. And so there's going to be something, perhaps for you at a personal level, where you realize, I don't fully understand this, but I know it's true for me. Meaning, all of your energy is electrified or pulsing with it and feeling a resonance with something. The frequency is speaking to you, but the mind can be the slowest thing to understand it. The mind is trying to sort it out and organize it, or maybe compartmentalize things. And here we have this Uranus and Gemini that says you are bigger than your mind. You are bigger than what you think or how you process, and even bigger than what you understand. You are a vast energy system that's being activated. And I feel that's part of what this square to the nodes of fate are going to be experiencing. In other words, we can't rely on our minds to find all the answers, because the energy is going to speak to you. You're going to have a knowingness. You're going to feel something that maybe jolts you awake or gives you a new insight or drastically surprises you and changes something in a pivotal way. This is powerhouse changes here with this T-square. This is sending us on a new trajectory that allows us to continue to honor our spiritual development and growth of that North Node in Pisces, to step away from the mind, the over-reliance upon figuring it out and knowing the answers and understanding things logically. This is actually blasting us away from that South Node in Virgo and moving us towards that North Node in Pisces, and allowing us to become more intuitive beings beyond what we have trusted or fully embodied before. I think there's going to be a need here to also just simply trust what you need to say, what you're feeling, what you're doing. It's kind of like walking down the street and then all of a sudden, for some reason, you don't know why, you just have to go left. And as you do so, it connects you with the right person. Like you have an unexpected encounter with a friend, or you find that restaurant you were looking for, or you discover a really cool new shop, or simply explore a new area of town and realize there's more here than what you thought. So it's that kind of energy where something bigger than you can feel like it's now guiding you and it's activating you at a deep level. Because I'm seeing this at a cellular level. I'm seeing that the cells in our bodies are pulsing with these new frequencies, and they feel very light. And I feel like this is a jolt to our physical body, Virgo, and further activating more of our light body, Pisces. There's something here that we're meant to release. We're meant to release the monkey mind, the overthinking, the expectations, the shoulds, the obligations. We're meant to break free of how we've been holding ourselves back. And I feel that as we do so, there's going to be even more that opens up. And I'm seeing that in the miracle matrix energy. Like I'm seeing it as this very dynamic and gorgeous Merkaba that is shifting and alive and connecting us with more energies of lightness. And it feels like there's more potential here. There's more creativity. There's more expansion and imagination. And you could feel that on a daily basis, you are now living with greater trust in your intuition. You are operating with more self-trust, and you are following energy more actively. Because I feel like that is part of it feels like a magnetism. It feels like there's a magnetic miracle matrix that is opening up, and we are being jolted into surprises, developments, disruptions, awakenings that are next level. And it's part of how we're evolving our own human capabilities and human skills. It requires trust. It requires going with the unknown. It requires vulnerability and openness. And I think that's part of what this energy is jolting awake in us, that again can be really uncomfortable, but also very exciting and quite inspiring. So throughout June, there will be pivotal changes. And depending on your chart, again, if you have planets or points in the early degrees of the mutable signs, this month is more significant for you. In fact, it lasts into July. June and July, there could be some changes in your world that catch you off guard. There could be some happy developments. There could be some things that transpire out of the blue and change your choices, change what you want to do in your life. It is that big, especially again, if you have planets or points between 0 to 4 degrees of the mutable signs. This is an important time period for you as these changes unfold, and they move quickly, they move fast. Keep in mind, we're also working with Sedna and the Pleiadean energies. And I had a separate podcast episode for you a few weeks back on Monday discussing that triple conjunction of all three of these energies here in the early degrees of Gemini. Well, as they start interacting with the nodes of fate, you open up to more of what you really want. And with that North Node in Pisces, it's emotional, heart-based, intuitive, spiritually guided, and brings in more freedom. It could be that energy of, I'm done with this work. I'm done with this occupation. I'm done with this industry. I want something else. I want to be set free. And then as soon as that occurs, you might realize you connect with that next opportunity or that next job almost as immediately as you realize you're done with the old one. So allow these changes to work for you. Have a powerful mindset here that everything is working in your best and highest good. Everything is unfolding for me in the best and highest way. Really own that affirmation, really believe it, and keep repeating it to yourself daily. A minimum of 21 days is what they say in order to fully embody and embrace a new belief system and a new way of being. So this would be something to work with throughout June and to be open to startling developments. Now, I know that those can also be unpleasant and unexpected, and that there could be some things that come about that shock your nervous system and are hard to process. But this is fast-moving energy. So even if there's something that unfolds and it really shocks your system, you might be surprised at how quickly you navigate through it with these faster moving frequencies. Again, going into what I'm seeing at a cellular level here, we're able to shake off density, fears, and emotions faster, because it doesn't connect, it doesn't linger. Our energies have evolved to the point where they don't need to be connected to fear or to old patterns. Of course, this is personal, so that would be something for you to observe or determine for yourself. But you might realize that there are things here that are not in your energy at all, or even if they are, they leave just as quickly. So that's also how we're supported in this ascension and in activating more of our light body, is that things don't stick around. They don't stay stuck to us for long because there is no longer that energetic connection. And so that could also be something that surprises you this month, is what you are moving away from, what you are shaking off, what is complete for you and finalized. And there's no longer any energetic connection at any level of your being, including physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, intuitively, and otherwise. And that could be part of the release of this square from the planets in Gemini, is that you could just feel more active and energized. You could have a renewal in what you want to do and in your physical body's activity level. This could be quite invigorating. So do keep that in mind. I also have to caution that when we have a Uranus square, you also want to be aware of any breakages, accidents, fractures, or broken bones, because especially when this Uranus in Gemini is squaring an Earth sign in Virgo, there could be something that physically feels this breakthrough energy. So be mindful of your body, of movement, of walking, of vehicles, and make sure that you're also aware of other people's energies, because it could be the other driver or the other person who's very erratic or unpredictable, and that would affect you in some manner if it's in your field. So just some caution there that this square can also bring about some big collisions and accidents, especially because Virgo is a physical body and Pisces is downtime. Pisces is rest and healing energy. Now, also important to note with these nodes of fate energies is that they do pertain to health. They pertain to how we care for our body on a regular basis. Virgo is the maintenance energy. It's what you eat and consume, how you exercise, how you move your body. It relates to your lifestyle and diet, to your vitamins, minerals, supplements, herbs, everything you do to support your physical self so that it's in optimum shape. On the other side of that equation is Pisces, which is rest, sleep, nap time, stillness, needing to disconnect, needing to escape responsibilities of life and be left alone to take care of yourself and to tune in to your emotional well-being, your mental state, and what your body has absorbed And so Pisces can be the energies that we pick up on and we're unaware of, where the body can reveal how we've been holding stress or what has been affecting us emotionally. The Pisces energy can also be where we have lacked boundaries and we haven't been clear in knowing our needs or stating our needs so that we can retreat into our own space and care for ourselves, allow ourselves to relax, exhale, and rest. Pisces is the unseen, so it can be unseen diseases, viruses, or illnesses that are hidden. It can be unexpected diagnoses, things you didn't see coming, but the energy has been there. And so this is also going to be a period of time when you want to prioritize your health and you want to be aware of what your energy really needs. When you need to rest, you got to rest. If you need more sleep, honor that. There's going to be some strong messages here around how we're truly honoring what our energy is saying, and we're not trying to override it too much. We're not ignoring it, and we're not allowing it to be something that we sweep under the rug. And so to demonstrate this energy, I want to bring in a case study from my friend Sara, who throughout her life was very good at helping other people, being supportive, being the good girl, being there for them when they needed her, taking care of others, always giving, always being available, supportive, the one in charge. Whatever you need me to do, let me know, I'll take care of it. So very much a responsible person, but over time, that energy showed up through her physical body and her own well-being, through various autoimmune diseases that were undiagnosed and hidden from her. It was around the age of 42 when she was feeling depleted, worn out, and stressed out from her lifestyle of always doing, being, and giving to others. This was through her career, through her personal life, in her family, and with her friends. She was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, of which there are over 100, and none of them have a single cure. Autoimmune diseases would be Pisces, and then how it's actually understood, felt, and experienced on a daily basis is Virgo. Sara had also been diagnosed with other severe medical issues throughout her 20s, 30s, and 40s, including melanoma, Epstein-Barr, ovarian cysts, and Hashimoto's disease. But because she is enterprising and brilliant, she stayed alert and aware of what could this mean? What could be the source of this? What could be something that I'm not seeing that is contributing to these ongoing diagnoses? And so she then went into this whole new area of research and study where she surveyed thousands of women and asked them about their own experiences with autoimmune diseases. She collected a lot of data, gathered a lot of evidence, testimonials, and case studies. All this is very Virgo. But what she did was she brought to light hidden patterns and hidden understandings of what was contributing to her ongoing health issues. And I feel this is a great example of the best of this axis of that North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo, where we allow our own inquisition and our own desire to get to an answer to propel us into what we didn't see before and what we didn't know. And that brings about some big realizations and brand new understandings that were previously hidden. And Sara has written a book about her journey and her discoveries. And a book is, of course, Gemini energy. So it fits into this astrological archetype that we've been discussing. The foreword to her book is written by Richard Carmona, the 17th Surgeon General of the U.S., who says that autoimmune diseases are among the most complex and least understood conditions in medicine. They disproportionately affect women, often manifesting in ways that defy easy diagnosis and challenge conventional treatment. But what Sara does so powerfully here is connect the dots between biology and biography, between the immune system and the emotional system, between the clinical and the cultural. And so Sara offers her breakthrough understanding of what was affecting her health. And I'm happy to say, because she's a dear friend of mine, that she is healthy, well, and strong. She is no longer affected by these previous diagnoses. And it's because of her willingness to be open to her own truth that led her through understanding what this was about for her. And then she wrote the book, Autoimmunity and the Good Girls, to help other women. In fact, you maybe saw her in a discussion with Heather Ensworth or Dr. Ramani, and she's also currently being heavily endorsed by Dr. Gabor Maté. The book is called Autoimmunity and the Good Girls: How Permission to Put Ourselves First Has the Power to Keep Us Well, by Sara Hirsch Bordo. And I'm sharing this not only because I think it's a valuable and beautiful contribution to understanding the power of our bodies, as well as our emotional self and personal needs, but because this is the kind of breakthrough information that's also going to be emphasized in June. This is a wonderful example of how new knowledge, new studies, new information, especially compiled in a book, is going to disrupt the status quo. And that's another way to look at these aspects and to look at what's unfolding here is June. The disruptions are going to shake the apple cart. They're going to ask you to give up something in order to set yourself free, to make changes, to be willing to see something in a new light and in a new way, and to stay open to what you didn't know, but to be that open-minded explorer who can take in new information, new ideas, new thoughts as a demonstration of your own expanding consciousness. And so this is going to be a month when there will be more shocking developments and information busting through that can change us individually, but also as a collective. I mean, these can be grand scale announcements. These can be significant revelations. This can bust open anything that's been hidden and kept behind closed doors. This is where we might see things that we didn't think we would see, and now we have a lot more to discuss and talk about, and it stirs up all these new questions. So there's going to be a lot swirling around us this month. There's going to be a lot more that we're picking up on, we're thinking through, and we're sensing. But again, I'm feeling it as a very powerful activation of our light body, of our higher cellular frequency, pulsing at a new rate, at a new speed, setting us free from previous trials or issues or problems, allowing us to be complete with something and to just trust that it's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to not know all the solutions in order to move ahead, and that it doesn't have to be perfect or look a certain way or be organized just as you'd like it to be. There is freedom here, and you might feel that you're able to release things that you were previously afraid to let go of. But that North Node in Pisces is telling us it's time. It's time to set yourself free. It's time to be open to more of your true self and to step away from any limitations or previous self-definitions that are holding you back. So we'll keep talking about this as we move through the month of June, but the energy is strongest this month, and then it does go into July as well. Now, if you're looking for the exact alignments here, we have a Uranus and Gemini that will get to 2 degrees 45 minutes, and that's when it will make an exact square to the nodes of fate on June 12th. So it's really the middle of the month that the energy is exact, but it's still in play all month and into July. So it's just going to be strong over the next few months. So we will have to expect the unexpected and remain flexible in our choices, ideas, and options, especially as sudden changes occur. Now, for those of you who are in my online program focusing on these nodes of fate in Pisces and Virgo, you might want to log back in to that program and check in on what's been unfolding for you since January 2025, as we are reaching the last few months here of this 18-month journey. If you would like to dive into that program, I do have it on sale for 50% off with coupon code NODES, and you can log in and go into more of a deep dive of these energies, how they've been working with you. Perhaps you'll even connect some dots around changes you've moved through in the Virgo areas of your chart and the Pisces areas of your chart, as this is where our soul growth focus this has been, and we are seeing perhaps how it has served you, how it has benefited you, even if it was quite scary or uncertain for a bit. So this program goes into more of a deep dive on understanding the Pisces soul growth energies and the Virgo soul growth energies. It gives you more ways to embody each one, as well as seeing what is cleared out for you, what is being removed. And this is especially important if you were born in the 1960s and you have Uranus and or Pluto in Virgo, because this is more life-changing for you. This is a shift in your purpose, in your daily life, in your job, in your skills, in what you've been doing. This is where you're feeling and sensing there's something new I'm meant to move towards, and you might not know what that is yet, but you might be sensing that's the wave of energy moving through you. And astrologically, you are correct. That's exactly it, is that those energies in Virgo are being cleaned, and there is a necessary removal that's happening with those Virgo energies, especially if you have Uranus in Virgo or Pluto in Virgo. So I hope you enjoy the information in this program. I hope it also helps you connect some dots around the changes you've been moving through and helps you see why this is the time right now, why it's happening now. So if you're interested, I will put that in the show notes for you to check out. And if you're interested in more of Sara's book, her research, her offerings, and what she shares based on her own health journey, you can find her book on Amazon. I'll also put a link below in the show notes. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I'll be back on Wednesday as we discuss the weekly astrology of June. And as always, I appreciate your energy, your time, and your presence. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a beautiful start to June, and I'll see you back here soon.